Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are super excited to share some very special news, and I'd love it if you could help me welcome to the stage the co-founders of Airbnb, Brian, Joe, and Nate.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming here today, everyone. We're really, really excited.
What you're about to see today really started with conversations that the three of us started having in 2012 when we realized that Airbnb could become so much more than it is today.
And I think one of the things that we're incredibly grateful for is that as co-founders, we still get to create together. We still get to dream together. And with every secret prototype that we made along the way, I think each of us knew we had a glimpse of the future to come, and we're so excited to share that with you today. Brian's done an amazing job bringing it to the next level.
So with that, we're going to clear the stage, and we're going to let Brian lead us into the future.
Thank you, guys.
Take it away.
All right. Thank you. All right. So, oh my God. Whoa. All right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So, we've been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting lately about, and it comes to a point in any company's history where you start to think and reflect, and we've been thinking a lot about what it means to travel, the purpose of travel. I want you to think back to your earliest memories, maybe the first trip you ever took. I remember the first big trip I ever took. You see, I'm from Niskayuna, New York. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I haven't either, don't worry. But Niskayuna is a small town outside of Albany, New York. And so the first trip we ever took was to St. Louis. Now, to get from Niskayuna to St. Louis, you've got to fly. And so this is the first time that was an airplane. And it was totally magical. This is me with my sister. I'm on the right, obviously. And you know, the first time I traveled, it opened my eyes because it made me realize the world was so much bigger. And suddenly, I dreamed of other places I could go. And I asked my mom, I asked my dad, I said, Mom, Dad, I want to go to the most magical place on Earth, the North Pole. And they said, it's too cold, it's too far, we're taking you to the Anheuser-Busch factory tour in Merrimack, New Hampshire. But I kept asking, and a few months later, they finally caved, and they took me to North Pole, New York. In the summer. I had shorts on. But as I was looking through these photos, I discovered another photo. And by the way, I was looking for photos of my first trip to Europe, and moments where I've had these transformational experiences. And then I found this photo. And it wasn't in front of a landmark. This is me with my mom. This is at Lake George. But it was one of those incredibly magical, meaningful moments. And I think we've all had these meaningful, magical moments when we travel. When I was a little older, I used to go to the shopping mall near my town. And they had a travel agency in the shopping mall. And they had these old posters. And these posters promised travel that was an easy escape to magical worlds. The problem is this. That's the promise, but this is the reality. You're in line, you're lonely, you're an outsider, you're often doing things locals never do. You see, for many people, travel's easy, but it's not magical. And if you want to have an amazing trip, you end up basically on a research project. You might search online, you'll get guidebooks, you'll download an app, or maybe use 20 apps. You'll do research, maybe you have friends in Europe that you'll ask, and pretty soon, you could literally spend as much time planning your trip as on your trip. And so we want to fix this. We don't think there should be a trade-off. We think travel can be magical and easy. But the question is, how do you create this? How do you create magic? Well, we were doing some research, and 2 years ago, we discovered something. And this is what we discovered. It's called the hero's journey. The hero's journey was coined by a mythologist named Joseph Campbell. He actually called it Hero with 1,000 Faces. And the reason he called it Hero with 1,000 Faces is he essentially said almost every movie you've ever seen, Snow White, The Wizard of Oz, Star Wars, they start like this. A character starts in their ordinary world. They cross the threshold, think of Wizard of Oz, to this new magical world where they meet people. They have a challenge. They're literally challenged. They participate. They're out of their element. And they have a moment of transformation where then they return back to their ordinary world. And as we learned about this, there was a pretty big light bulb that went off. And the light bulb was, homes is just one small part of a great journey. And that great travel is a lot like the characters' experiences in great movies. And so this was the moment we realized we needed to create a holistic travel experience, an entire trip. And so we decided to start, not with making it easy, but start with the magic. So we found one traveler. This is Francisco. Francisco is from Chile. He's gay. That shouldn't matter. But in the community he comes from, that did. And we had a team of people start, and this was the first prototype, and we wanted to create a very special trip for him. And we ended up filming it. And I'm going to show you a short film of Francisco's trip to San Francisco.
Bueno, yo me llamo Francisco y soy de Santiago de Chile. Por mi profesión, que yo soy arquitecto, entonces yo trabajo construyendo cosas, diseñando. Y yo creo que ser homosexual en Chile, sí, es difícil. Eres un poco un ciudadano de segunda categoría. Entonces por eso busco, no sé, un lugar que me acepte. Cuando llegué a San Francisco, estaba un poco nervioso. Sí, bueno, fui al Meyer. La primera noche me sentí... Mira, no, de hecho no tengo muchos recuerdos. A ver, la mañana del tercer día... Your adventure begins here at 11:45. Wow, buena. Bueno, fui con la croquera hasta el restaurante y ahí me estaba esperando una chica al ice. Muy bonita, muy hippie. Sí, y ahí me llevó a recorrer un poco la ciudad.
Hey, hi, how are you? Good, good. Nice to meet you. Come on in. So your room is right here on the right. Back many years ago, being gay, it wasn't that cool. But in California, it was very different. It's more about who you are and what you do and what you produce than who you love. Oh, wow, thank you. Wow, that's very sweet. I wanted to welcome Francisco to San Francisco. So happy to share it with you.
Pucha, así que es increíble que alguien te abra las puertas de la casa y las puertas de su círculo de amigos. De hecho, me pasó cuando estaba durmiendo. Cerré los ojos y en algún momento sentí que estaba en mi cama. Sí, como en casa. Sí. Bueno, lo que más me gustó es esta convivencia que se vive en la ciudad, en San Francisco. Que en general, la sociedad en San Francisco, como la cultura cívica, sí, yo creo como que se basa un poco en el respeto.
I'm Robert. Nice to meet you. What is this? Yeah. We met 2 years ago, and then we got married in the past year.
Did you propose to me too?
Yeah, I had a flash mob. This giant mob of people come around this car. Oh my gosh. And I get to
Igual traté de no hacerme muchas expectativas con este viaje. Hoy el viaje ha sido, yo creo, la experiencia más surrealista, más loca que he tenido en la vida. No, yo creo que sí, yo creo que ser gay es lo más difícil que me ha tocado en la vida. Que cuando hablas con la verdad no hay nada que esconder. Y oye, te saca un peso encima porque no tienes nada que esconder.
So we learned something from this trip from Francisco, and that is that the magic is in the people. It's all about immersing in local communities. So this was 2 years ago. And back then, we had an uphill battle. How are we going to create millions of these trips? Well, over the last couple years, we've been working on what I'd love to show you right now. Welcome to the world of trips, where we put homes, experiences, and places together all in one place. We've designed this to be both magical and easy, and I'd love to show this to you right now. So let's start with experiences. So let's say you want to travel somewhere. How are you going to know what to do? Well, you have a few options. A lot of people like shopping when they travel. You can go to a museum. You can go on a tour. The problem is, it's actually really hard to meet anyone that actually lives there. How do you immerse in a local community? So what experiences are handcrafted experiences that allow you to immerse in the local community. These are offered by local hosts, and we have two types. We have immersions, which are multi-day experiences, and we have single experiences, which are just a few hours. And you can even do these, of course, in your own city. So here's how it works. So the first thing you're going to notice is we organize these not just by city, but by passion. So food and drink. Let's say you don't know where you want to travel to, but you know you want to have a food or drink experience. You can go and have a Tuscan lunch, or if you really like whiskey, here you go. We have experiences in LA, a food one. I've always wanted to be a disco queen. Now, we really took a lot of inspiration from cinema. And you'll notice we have these movie posters. We also have movie trailers for all of these trips, for hundreds of trips. And let's take a look at this one. So this is Martin shooting stars. So let's go in. And we really celebrate these hosts as heroes because you get to walk in their shoes. Now, this is Martin. He's from Amsterdam originally, lives in LA. He got his first telescope when he's 13 years old. He is a professional astrophotographer. And I'd love to show you his little trailer. So let's take a look at this trip. So you can learn about Martin, and he offers 3 experiences. Day 1, he has a studio tour on Ocean Avenue where you learn, and this is his studio, and you learn the basic principles of astrophotography. The next day at 5:30 p.m., you head to Malibu, into the mountains, where he has dinner in his home, and you go under the stars with telescope and binoculars, and you actually shoot the stars to midnight. The next day, you go back to his studio for tea and croissants, and you have a lesson in image processing, and you take back photos with you of the shots that you took. Now, this trip is $199. Half the trips we offer are below $200, and you can instant book that. So this is one of our immersions. So from here, let me show you a few others. So let's go from LA all the way to Detroit. Detroit's a cool city, and Nelson is a cool guy. Born and bred in Detroit, Nelson dresses local celebrities and athletes. So that's Nelson's trip. From there, let's head all the way to Tuscany. Giulio, a truffle hunter. He's a lifelong certified truffle hunter, and so this is a really cool trip. If you want to get your adrenaline going for a little bit more, you could take the time traveler with Robbie. Now, Robbie's a California native, a muscle car enthusiast, and he actually teaches the 1950s and 1960s history through the cars that were of that era. So this, in this photo, is a 1965 Alfa Romeo Giulia. It's imported from Milan, and this is a car you use on the trip. We also have outdoors trips. This is Johnny's Wide Desert Road, and it's a secret off-road. He takes you to secret off-road trails in LA. It's really heart-pounding. And speaking of heart-pounding, Korean embroidery.
이게 약간 얼룩해졌잖아요. 이게 아까 그 띠풀
Wow. I wasn't joking. That was kind of heart-pounding. So this is really cool, actually. This is a skill that gets passed down generation by generation. And it's becoming a bit of a forgotten craft because a lot of factories are automating embroidery. But this is something that people are very passionate about, and I think people are going to really enjoy this. And last, I'd like to show you educational and historic trips. I'm really proud of this one. This is Jack. Jack was Nelson Mandela's prison guard and cook for 27 years. And on this trip, he recounts how Nelson Mandela transformed his life.
There I shook the hand of the man that started the puppet, and then I shook the hand that ended the puppet.
Mandela was in this house. What was this house used for? Did you ever think about what it would be like to be in one of these cells?
Yeah. So those are multi-day immersions. We also have single experiences, just for a few hours, from magic to acrobatics to food to lifestyle and culture to music. You know, concerts are really cool. Concerts in living rooms, they're even cooler in many ways. And so here's one of these in LA, and you can book this as well. So these are experiences. Now, this has been private beta for a few months, and we had a few travelers use this. And we documented one of these travelers. So I wanted to bring to life what this actually feels like to be on a trip. And so here we go. I'd love to show you a real trip in action. So let's meet Amrita. She's born in Bombay. She lives in Delhi. And here is what her trip looked like. So she booked 3 things. The first was at Javiera. Javiera is an internationally known artist. And she starts with painting murals. So first she looks at the murals, and she learns how to channel her inner creativity. And then she gets her hands dirty, and she actually paints with other travelers. And they collaborate on a female astronaut piece. The next experience is with Paula, the food anthropologist. A food anthropologist essentially gets you to try foods you never imagined are actually food. And so one of the things that she did, she brought her to El Mercado, which is a historic Mexican market in East LA. And she got pretty adventurous. She tried a chapulines. She loved it. And finally, with Lily, a local designer, she had a fashion experience, sculpting couture, where you essentially learn how to make a dress. And so you go to fabric stores, and this is a vintage fabric store, and they pick out different swatches. This is in Westwood, where she actually makes her own dress. And she'd never made a dress before. And so these are some of the experiences that you can do. And a key thing is these aren't tours. You actually participate, you immerse, and you join the local communities. So these are experiences. Again, we have multi-day immersions, which are typically, over a few days, and we have single experiences for just a few hours. So those are experiences. All right. Next, let's talk about places. So you can have experiences, but maybe you also want to go to places and check out some of the local spots. Well, if you want to do that today, how would you do that? You could get a guidebook, and a guidebook will probably tell you things that other travelers tell you to do. But here's the problem. If you go read a guidebook, they'll often recommend things that locals would never do. Here's a good test. If the city you live in, what do travelers do on those weekends? And ask yourself, do I do those things? And maybe you use apps to figure out what to do or where to eat. But then the problem is you open the app, you have 1,000 restaurants and recommendations. Everyone has 1,000 reviews. Most of them average 3.5 or 4 stars. And we decided, let's turn this on its head. What if we led with people? So trips brings places to life through the people. And I'm going to start by showing you insider guidebooks. So here's how insider guidebooks work. Insider guidebooks are local insiders who recommend the places, and so you discover places through people. So we have a wide range of them, from all things drag, Courtney Act, or My Malibu by Kelly Slater. This is offered through the World Surf League, and Kelly Slater is an 11-time WSL surf champion, and he takes you into the inside world of the Malibu surfing culture. These are both in LA, but we also have insider guides in Nairobi. If you want to go to Nairobi right now, how would you know where to go? And there's some really cool places, like we have a unique art and design guide written by a lifestyle blogger, we have a Worldwide Eats by a cookbook author, and it's a really cool music one. And this is from the founder of Blankets and Wine, which is essentially a festival for music. Havana. Havana's known for, well, it's really known for many things. But one of the things it's really known for is its music. So let's take a look at what one of these guys looks like. This is Roberto. Roberto is a Cuban jazz pianist and composer. He's played with some of the most famous jazz musicians in the world, and this is his handcrafted guide to the best of the music scene in Havana. So let's take a look. So he recommends places like Sario. Let's go into this one. All right. And Sario is this really amazing place. It's got great, great music. We have La Tropical. They have tons of musical styles: salsa, rumba, trova, and techno. Now, Roberto recommends you check the calendar before you go. And then every Sunday, they have dance competitions for elderly couples. And then finally, if you want a more relaxed atmosphere, he says relaxed atmosphere, you go to El Diablo Tune Tune. I guess in Cuba, this qualifies for relaxed. And this attracts students, intellectuals, and musicians. So these are insider guides, and they're in cities around the world. Now, if we want to take this to the next level, what if we brought a more cinematic experience to it? Sound. We have audio walks. We've partnered with Detour, and Detour is this amazing company that makes audio walks. So here we're in downtown LA. Thousands of people walk these streets. Very few of them know the history of these streets. And with audio walks, we bring the history to life through some of LA's most vibrant characters.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the LA Arts District. This was called the Container Yard. Ask her to see the Volvo P1800 all the way in the back. Man, it looks dope.
On your right, you'll see the original bank vault. Go inside and check out the art. The dials play on our Jules Verne steampunk vibe.
Look around. Doesn't the market just beg you to come in and have something to eat? I completely understand if you want to check out one of the other stalls.
So those are audio walks. All right, so let's go back to places. And we have a couple more things to show you. Here we have meetups. Every day we have thousands of people in cities around the world. And the question is, what if those people could meet each other? What if we could bring together like-minded people? And venues in local spots that want more business could bring those people together. These are totally free, and they're in cities like LA, San Francisco, and cities around the world. And the last thing I want to point out is Nearby Now. So let's go in to Nearby Now. So this is a map of what's near us right now in this theater outside the Orpheum. Here's Lhasa. And you'll notice a couple things here. First, we bring together what the community says. You can get tips and advice. But there's one thing I want to show you that I'm really excited about. I'm excited to announce that soon you will be able to book restaurant reservations directly through the Airbnb app. We partnered with an amazing company, Resy, and Resy and us are going to work together so you will be able to soon be able to book a restaurant reservation in cities all over the world. And you can see we even give you context. We recommend when to go, how it fits into your schedule, and if you want to book this table, you just simply click reserve. And now you're going to Lhasa. So those are places. Now the question is probably like, well, when's all this going to happen? When's this all going to get built? And the good news is it's actually live. So I'm going to give you a live demo. All right. So let's fire up the app. Let's see. Hopefully this works. Oh, look, Airbnb on the home screen. Good. All right. Here we are. So here's the app. You can see this is real. And so we show you anywhere, anytime, so you can just search. Now, we start with the For You tab. And these are recommended just to me. We have homes, experiences. Let's stop here. So these are social impact experiences. Social impact experiences are experiences that are hosted by nonprofits, and 100% of the money goes to that nonprofit. 10% of our experiences are hosted experiences. So let's... Oh, wow. Cool. And so I don't have I don't have sound hooked up, but I wanted to give you a sense of how these work. So these are movie trailers. If you want to skip through, you can just skip through, and the sound is synchronous. So we can see this trip. If I want to share this trip, I can share it. I can read about it. And so 100% of this money goes to Facing Change, documenting Detroit. So those are social impact experiences. We also have a partnership with Make-A-Wish as well, and we're going to be granting a wish a day to children, and so I'm really excited about this as well. So you notice we still have homes, and the app that you see today is now in this tab for homes, and let's go to experiences. So here are some experiences. And so we organize by a lot of different passions. We have history, we have cities, nature, wellness, fashion, sports, and let's go to places. So here are places. And you can see we have a lot of these different experiences. So let me go to meetups. So if you want to see meetups, here are meetups. So this is Beach Town Fair. There are 30 people going this Sunday. So these are places. Sorry, I just still have to call this out. This is so cool, Detroit. So the last thing I want to show you is this. I'm really excited about this, and this is trips. So this is essentially the timeline of all of your travel. This is your itinerary, and you can see these are the trips I've taken. I've taken a bunch of them, and this really shows the timeline of your life through travel. And I think this is really powerful because now when you're traveling, the phone can be in your pocket, and it can help you get to all the places, and this allows you to be spontaneous with travel. So I wanted to show you how this works. So here's Nairobi. I'm going there in a couple weeks. And so here's how it works. Every time you book something, that reservation goes into your itinerary. So I have a home. I have places I've added to my itinerary. I have an insider's dinner in Nairobi. Oh, what's this? Want to hang out with other travelers? There's a meetup happening at Tin Roof Cafe around 6 p.m. Are you interested? Hell yeah. Actually, better not. We have an alchemist bar. And so you get a sense of how this works. And this is going to be a big place of innovation going forward. And eventually we can see where gaps are and we can recommend things to you. And I'll show you one more trip I have coming up in Oahu. And this is hosted, again, by the World Surf League. So I start with the WSL Commissioner Barbecue. Then I do big waves by jet ski. I can fly over Oahu. I can surf with a legend surfer. I get VIP access to a pipeline surf event and Aloha barbecue. So this is the app that we have today. All right. Yeah, it's kind of cool, right? Yeah. Nice. This is available today, right after this. It's available as an update to your Airbnb app. So that's what we have for you today. And where is this going to be rolling out? Well, we're starting in 12 cities. And here are the 12 cities. First, Detroit. And we have London, Paris, Nairobi, Havana, San Francisco, Cape Town, Florence, Miami. Let me say one thing. All of these posters were designed by local artists in these communities. Seoul, Tokyo, and last, but certainly not least, Niskayuna, New York. Just kidding. LA. Right here in LA. And we will be in over 50 cities next year, and this is just the beginning. Eventually, we aim to be in every city around the world. Now, it would not be an Airbnb presentation if I didn't talk about homes. We still have homes. We have 3 million homes. And, yeah. And we've learned a lot over the last couple years by building experiences in places. And we want to bring some of that magic into our homes. So, this is just a small preview of things to come with homes. But even this, homes, experiences, and places, this is actually not the entire trip. There's more. Flights and services, and we think we can bring more to both of these as well. This is literally just the beginning. And I mean literally. I mean, we even have more spaces in this icon. And all of this comes together to the Trip platform that's in a single app. But most importantly is this. Everything that we do and everything we will do will be powered by people. You know, a lot of technology companies, we tend to talk about the magic being in the technology, making things really easy. But the magic always was and always will be in the people. And if you have a passion, if you have an interest, or if you have a hobby, you can share your community with others in the world. Because you see, travel has never really been about where you go, but it's about who you can become. And this is something that we would love to be able to build together. So we invite you to join us in this adventure together. Now, before I go, I want to tell one last story. You know, about 4 or 5 months ago, I got in touch with the very first Airbnb guest who stayed with Joe and I. And his name is Amol Surf. And Amol stayed with Joe and I in October of 2007. And I had a call with him, and I asked him, I said, Amol, when you think of the first Airbnb, what are a few words that come to mind? And he said, Brian, I really only have one word that comes to mind. I say, well, what's that word? And he said, that word's friendship. And I said, well, tell me more. And he said, well, instead of telling you, why don't I show you? And I go, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, I actually took a lot of videos and photos that first weekend. And I said, you mean to tell me I've told the story like 3,000 times and you have a video? Fuck. And he shared a bunch of video footage with us of that first weekend. And we just kind of recently discovered this. And I'd love to show you a short video of the first weekend on Airbnb.
When people tell the story of the first Airbnb experience, we always tend to focus on, the hotels being sold out and this being a very economical arrangement. However, there was this whole aspect of having a deeper connection with Joe and Brian. I learned so much. I met so many interesting people, went on adventures, and we becoming lifelong friends.
Hi, my name is Amol.
Oh yeah, what do you do, Amol?
The conference just got over yesterday, and we are going for a short tour of San Francisco today.
I wasn't very familiar with the whole local food scene, and they took me to a taco place. It was almost like a hole in the wall at that point, and so I was wondering where have they brought me. However, when I look back now, that was a really very authentic and local experience.
How are you?
We went to the ferry building. I had never heard of a farmer's market before that. And so it was my first introduction to locally grown organic food. I was really excited to see Gandhi's statue.
You need to get to the airport by 4 or something.
Whoa.
The real San Francisco is not about just going to Lombard Street. It is about, this creative vibe where people are trying to change the world. I was able to experience the other side of San Francisco. Once you see that so up close, that changes your life. It changes your perspective. And that was really transformative experience for me.
You'll notice there weren't a lot of videos of homes there. Even from when we started, we've really always been about a trip. And when we're at our best, this is who we are. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.